We're ready. Are you ready? Yes, it's another episode of Aussie Mac Zone, episode 30 this week. How are you going? It's good to be with you once again. And we've got another great little couple of minutes of storytelling over the next hour or so. So sit back and relax and enjoy the conversation headed up by myself and Michael from down there in Penrith Way. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Glenn. Hello, listeners. Pretty good week this week.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You avoided the heat. The heat is just the topic of everyone's conversation, isn't it? It's been hot up here too. But,
yeah, I got a bit of sun on Sunday, but it was gone on Monday and raining.
Right. Oh, right. So we got no Jace tonight. He's out, but guess who's back? It's Garth. Hey, Garth, how you doing?
Glenn, how's it going, mate? Good to be back. Listeners, how are you all?
Good. Thanks, Garth. Oh, Happy New Year. We haven't seen you since last year.
Yeah, I've been laid low with meningitis. It just knocked me on my back for a while.
Oh, gee, that's good.
Getting better now, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's good. Is that the brain swelling thing?
Yeah, brain infection in the brain. So if I make any, really stupid comments tonight, I've got that as a fallback. Right. And just, blame the brain infection.
Oh, it's just all a big ruse, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a big plan from the start.
I plan to use up some of my sick hours at work.
Yeah, that's the one. Why not? Why not? Now, Aussie Mac Zone every week is brought to you by the Aussie Tech Heads web hosting, athwebhosting.com.au. Go there and have a look at them. If you're looking for a business web page or a personal blog web page, fast service, Australian soil, so, everything's kept nice and close. That's how we like it. And also IT Help to You, keeping it simple at ithelp2u.com.au. And they are the sponsors of the show as well, with iTunes gift cards to give away. So stay tuned later on and we'll tell you how you can win one of those if you so desire. One of those ones right there. And also broadcasting around regional Australia on 104.5 FM, phasefm.com.au. So go there, and if you can't get them on your dial, go into your phasefm.com.au and you can listen to them on the internet or in your Shoutcast or TuneIn Radio, whichever one you want. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's start with some stories, eh? Hey, I think we better. Michael, you're first up tonight. What's Apple and Samsung? They're at it again.
Yeah, they're still punching each other's lights out, I think. But they're in, quote, discussions again. And it says Apple insists on anti-cloning provision in the Samsung settlement. And Samsung saying, well, you didn't say anything about us copying your designs, etc. We want to leave that part out. But Apple are saying, nah, well, that's not what's going on. They're trying to come to a settlement, but without anything to do. So.
But isn't this what started it anyway? Didn't Samsung copy the iPhone? One of their models looked exactly like the iPhone. So that's how it's all started.
Yeah. So even down to the connector, like.
Yeah. Right.
But it's moved away since then, and thank goodness, because most of the Samsung hardware I've seen looks like complete and utter crap. So they've obviously stopped copying iPhone now.
They must have.
So, forward-looking here from Apple to make sure they don't fall back onto that bandwagon of copying them, I guess.
Mm. Well, that's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, at the moment, the hardware that they're producing is just, I don't know, feels plasticky and awful.
Yeah, so the story says here, the Apple's discussion with Samsung have consistently included limits to both the scope of any license and a prohibition against cloning Apple products. In a filing late last week with the U.S. District Court for Northern California, such a provision would prohibit future Samsung products from copying the design of Apple handsets. Well, that's just what it's all about. Isn't it the $1 billion and all this sort of stuff? It's all about.
Yeah, but what happens when if Apple brings out a watch and it works, does that mean Samsung are going to start copying it? They don't want that to happen. They want Samsung to have use their own little brains to get things going, I think.
Yeah. So
we've seen their answer to that, haven't we? The Samsung Gear or whatever it was called.
Yeah, so that's what's going on over there. I don't know what's the answer, eh? I don't know. So I suppose, but as Garth,
the lawyers keep making money. That's the answer.
Yeah, but as Garth said, that the products are fairly different these days. So I guess, they're just fighting about what's inside them. I guess I heard that, Google was upset about the way, was it Google or someone was upset about the way they swipe to open the device, and all this sort of stuff. But it's all pretty crazy.
So what happens when Samsung starts using fingerprint sensor to unlock the phone?
Well, this is it, isn't it? This is it.
It becomes difficult with that sort of thing. Someone else who and there's another Android phone out there that's using that at the moment, but it's a clunky version where you swipe it on the back of the phone, and it's still a fingerprint scanner, but one of the old sort of swipe type ones.
Yeah.
So, and that may have even been released before the iPhone 5S. I don't know, it becomes tricky when we start to talk about what a basic component. So, I mean, how far can you go with a phone? It's a flat device
that's right.
Maybe curved with a screen on one side, a couple of buttons here and there. There's going to be copying no matter what.
But then again,
isn't there?
Yeah, but if you bring it back, like you bring it right back. Now I know there's a story coming up, and we might as well do this one now because it's a similar sort of theme. But it's to do with Candy Crush. Now, Garth, did you know much about this one? Or with this story?
Not a lot about this particular story, but I know this has been the kind of problem that's been in the App Store for a long time. When you have developers, so the story basically is around Candy Crush and, trying to prevent other app copiers. So
what's
some
happened?
Developer comes up with a great idea, produces an app, and then straight afterwards you've got all these other app producers who try to make, games that look exactly the same, behave exactly the same, and sort of ride on the coattails, I guess, or steal the business.
Well, in this particular one, the Candy Crush, it's a game. I don't know if anyone plays it. I don't play it. I think it's got to do with matching up coloured dots or something. Is that the one? Is that where you match up coloured dots?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I remember a girl at work was addicted to it. That's all I can tell you about it.
I think it's very like Bejeweled.
Right.
Going back, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, this Candy Crush game, apparently it's a phenomenon since Angry Birds, the biggest phenomenon since Angry Birds, and it seemed intent on crushing any potential competitors, at least those with the word candy in the title. Now, King.com are the owners of the Candy Crush name and game, registered a claim with the US Trademark Office almost a year ago to trademark the word candy. Right, this is where this starts getting a bit crazy. Candy as it pertains to video games and clothing. So last Wednesday on January 15, the King.com or King's filing was approved. And this week there are reports that developers are receiving emails from Apple if their games contain the word candy in the title. So how far does this want to go? Like, this is bringing it back. This is bringing this back right to the origins of a word now. You're not allowed to have candy in your title. It's just...
It's like Apple trying to trademark App Store, isn't it?
Well, that's right. Well, apparently all candy...
Store to buy apps.
Well, candy's been given it. That's right. So...
It's insane, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't see, going on with this. It goes down to say, game developers are receiving cease and desists or, whatevers. But, I mean, if they've got... what's the game here? The all candy casino slots. So now that I'm not sure that just sounds like it'd be a poker machine game or something. So that sounds to me that's going to be a little bit different to the Candy Crush. So therefore, why wouldn't they be allowed to use candy in that sense? Because you would think that candy casino slots, unless they were not trading as that game or that game wasn't invented before Candy Crush was invented. Like if Candy Casino was older than Candy Crush, surely they'd have a right to that name, you would think. But who knows? Well, obviously not.
It is tricky, and I can understand the point of view, not so much with this one, but the point of view of developers who have had a really good success and have clones coming along, apps in the App Store, they'll do things such as submit it to Apple with a given set of artwork, it'll get approved, and then they'll change the artwork, just so that it looks more like one of the other games.
Yeah.
Now, as a developer, if you're selling your game for $4.99, and it's a fantastic game, a lot of press, whatever, and someone comes out and starts selling this 99-cent complete rip-off of that game, then I would have a problem with that. And I can understand where these guys are coming from. But with all these sort of lawsuits, they just take it to the nth degree. You sort of, in this case, they succeeded by the looks, yeah.
And another interesting thing about this actual story is that Apple is actually sending out letters So Apple is helping King, was it? King.com? Apple is actually helping them protect and enforce their trademark. And probably so because, it's a massive game and it's probably making massive money for Apple. So they thought, we'll help them out. We'll help them out. But yeah, so, and just going back to the shirt thing, it said they also trademarked it in the category of shirts. Now, I'd imagine that's so people can't print T-shirts with Candy Crush written on it.
I wonder how Skull Candy feel about it.
Yeah, who was that?
Skull Candy, the makers of headphones and other things like that.
Well, if they've got T-shirts out, they might have a problem if they haven't got the trademark sorted out. Yeah, so yeah, look, that's crazy. Like copycat apps are a serious issue on the App Store, and more so probably in the Google Play Store rather than the Apple. But it's obviously a problem that Apple's decided to take on board as well, and help the whole. Is it King or Kong? King's trademark.
King,
yeah, that's right. So apparently, as the story goes on, that where this gets a little bit absurd, Candy Crush Saga makes an estimated daily revenue. Oh, how's this for a stat? Estimated daily revenue. Candy Crush, right? Candy Crush Saga makes an estimated daily revenue of just short of $1 million. And it's a free game. Wow. It makes... Yeah, wow. It makes... makes
it's not very free, is it?
No, it makes the money by sucking players into its manipulative gameplay and offering to scratch the resulting itches for a price. Someone might download a copycat game. Yeah, so I'm not sure how they play it. There's obviously things you do inside the game where it will, you obviously have to pay something for it. It's apparently aimed towards the 25 to 55-year-old female target demographic. They're the ones that have been
hooked. Who was addicted to it was in that group, yep.
Yes. Well, Angry Birds was the big thing at the time when that came out, wasn't it? And that was making huge money as well, and they were giving that away first few levels for free. But yeah, so all right. Okay, so that's yeah. Sorry,
just to add to it.
Sorry, Michael.
Yeah. Just to give you an example of where this all goes, I've got a customer who makes tarpaulins.
Yes.
And he had the word cafe curtains on his website.
Yeah.
Which is just the clear curtain you get it on a sidewalk cafe.
Yes.
It's been around for years and years and years. Some company in Western Australia has trademarked that in Australia. So he had to take the word cafe curtain off his website.
So what does he call it now? Just like clear curtains?
Yeah.
Curtains for your cafe?
Like,
yeah.
How can they trademark something? Why would the trademark people let it through?
Yeah,
for something that's been around for like 100 years. Yeah.
Well, I suppose that's an issue as well, is because like they might let it through, but that doesn't mean that it's actually would stand up in court. So
no, but who's going to make the money?
Well, that's right. That's right. Who has old tarpaulin mate got the money to go to this company and say, well, I dispute your trademark.
Yeah, but that costs like 10 grand just to start.
Yeah, so you're not going to do it. That's right. So, I think that needs an overhaul in the whole trademark area, the whole thing. Yeah. I'm not sure how it's going to happen or how it's going to work, but there are certain generic terms that I think we need to get serious about, and I think a serious and one was that App Store trademark that Apple tried to do. I think that was a good decision not to let them have that. So someone's doing something right somewhere, but we need more of that person. We need more of them. All right.
More of that person. Yep.
Speaking of more, we're going to have more for you after this. We have a birthday this week or next week. 25th of January. Garth, can you guess?
Happy birthday, the Macintosh!
Yay!
It's only 30 years. I mean, 30 years. That's a long time, isn't it? 30 years.
30 years is a long time.
Anyone remember them seeing those first Macs, or anyone played with them? Yeah, Michael?
Yeah. I'm old enough to do that. Yeah.
Look,
I had one the first year.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm old enough as well to remember those, because when I was at school, there was a guy that I did some work for, and he had one. And that's where I was first introduced to the little Macintoshes. Now, look, I've got the first words, apparently. It had a 9-inch... I'll give you some specs about this little machine. when it was launched. Now, it had a gigantic 9-inch monitor, a keyboard and mouse, 128K of built-in memory. The computer would cost you a US dollars around about $2,500. So that's a lot of money, because even these days you can buy computers for far less. And what's the Mac going for these days?
Yeah, that'd almost get you a Mac Pro. Not in the US, wouldn't
it? Yeah. But the Mac starts at $1,400 now.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, this year is the 30th anniversary of the Macintosh. Now, look, there was apparently, when it was unveiled, so Steve Jobs did the unveiling. The event, where does it say, they were holding a series? I think I might have ripped that part out of the show notes. But anyway, Steve Jobs did the unveiling 30 years ago. And look, I've actually got the first words of the Mac. Hang on, because he wanted it to be seen as a multimedia device. So look, if you just bear with me, I'm going to try and find the first words of this Mac.
I'd like to let Macintosh speak for itself.
Hello, I am Macintosh. It sure is great to get out of that bag.
There it is, the Macintosh's first words. Are you all excited now?
The crowd went wild.
They did, didn't they? They went ballistic. That was fantastic.
They did.
He was such the showman, wasn't he?
Oh, that's right. And I think he launched the Macintosh with the controversial but now revered ad, praised by many, with the, throwing the sledgehammer through the screen and all that sort of stuff. It was, massive ad, massive hype. So that's what he was all about. So January 25, 2014, see the 30th anniversary celebration for the Macintosh take place. The event put on by All Planet Studios, the Computer History Museum, and Macworld. It'll be held at the Flint Center in Cupertino, California. The event will be held in the same 2,300-seat auditorium where Jobs introduced the first Mac. Members of the original Macintosh development team will be holding a series of talks covering the creation of the Mac from its first conception to current days. Previously unreleased video will be shared. Oh, get a load of that. You got to get on the internet that day, get some unshared video. If you want more info, if you're interested, Mac30th.com, Mac30th.com. Yeah, so that wasn't bad. How have you haven't still got yours, Michael? You put yours to bed?
Not that lucky.
No. I've seen them making fish tanks out of them these days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's lots of things that they've made out of different old Macs.
I've seen, I think, a toilet roll dispenser. And that's probably about it. I can't think of anything.
Letterboxes were big for a while.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Wow. Yeah. But massive specs, 128K of built-in RAM. Massive.
Yeah, my first Mac-related work for upgrading was upgrading them from 128 to 512.
Yeah, geez.
Why would you ever have needed 512? That's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, isn't it? It's like 2 floppies. Who'd need that?
Oh, geez. Why would anyone need 640K base memory or more? No one would. Oh, that's someone else said that. that was over the road, wasn't it? All right.
Yeah, that was him.
Okay.
They released the Apple IIc that day as well. No one remembers that.
What do you on what day?
The day the Mac was released.
Yeah, but years later.
It was at Macworld.
Yep.
They released the Apple IIc that day as well.
Yeah, right. But not on the same day. In the same year. In the same. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Is that old, that thing? Wow.
The 2E, yeah. The 2E is the one I remember first. The 2E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2C was the little typewriter one that had
I had a 2C.
A 9-inch display as well.
Yeah. It had a little monitor that stood on like a little plastic stand.
Yeah.
And the computer just slid under it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
and then you got the Scribe printer. I got mine with a Scribe. It cost me about $2,800 university price in Australia for the printer and the computer.
I got a image writer printer with mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2C was my first computer. It cost a lot. I saved up. I worked for about 2 years, while at school, and saved up, and I bought a 2C. That was my first little computer. I loved it.
That was my first Apple. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because I used to go down to the public libraries up here on the Gold Coast. They had the Apple IIs, and then at the high school we had the Apple IIe, and that was hooked up to a daisy wheel printer. So that was that's going back, isn't it? They were fun. They were noisy, weren't they? They had to put in its
noisy as hell.
Yeah, they had to put in its own little case and everything. You know, I saw a soundproof case, a sound deadening case, because it was just a massive noise come out. But but look, you know, there'd be people around now these days, or 30 years ago. If you're 30, that means that you've never been on this earth without a Macintosh computer somewhere on it. So, you know, how good's that? All right.
Not sure how they should feel about that, Glenn.
Oh, you know, it's like I say, you know, New South Wales and Queensland state of origin. You know, my kids, they've never seen a New South Wales victory. So how sad is that? That's worse. That's worse.
You had to get it in there, didn't you?
Yeah,
you had to get it in.
That is worse. So, but all right. Well, while we go and have a bit of a sook over that, you can have a listen to some of these. All right, sook's finished. Now, all right, Michael, have you got another story, or what else have you got this week?
There's been a lot of chatter in the text press at the moment about how many phones have actually been sold in that last Q1 quarter for 2014, as they say, and the consensus among 44 analysts is 55.3 million iPhones. That's up 16% from the same quarter last year.
Oh, yeah.
That's not bad.
That's a lot, isn't it? That is a lot.
It's a lot. And they actually make money on them as opposed to all the other people.
Mm. Yeah, well, yes, they do. And is a lot of those, so that'd be thanks to China Mobile? Is that where a lot of the growth...
No, that's prior to China Mobile.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, that's just based on... Because they've only just done the China Mobile officially.
Yeah.
So this is sort of up. Well, that's a week ago, and the earnings are at the beginning at January. They close at January, so it's October, November, December is their first Apple's first financial quarter.
So that they haven't broken that down, as far as we know, into models of the iPhones.
No, I don't think they ever will.
Yeah, but still, it doesn't matter, does it? Like 55.3 million, like fair income. That's could you imagine, like, how big of a warehouse would that be if you were to hold the 55.3 million in one place? It'd be massive.
No idea. It's a huge number, like you say. That's an absolutely massive number of phones to be sold. And I think, you know, Michael's point that, and they're actually making money on that. That's, you know, a hugely valid point. You know, here's a company that making these phones for under $300 and able to sell them for, you know, $700 and $900, $700 and up. Yeah. It's huge profits they're making on those phones at the moment.
Yeah,
and that's where they've been doing things in their production. They plan on shipping their equipment from China to America, to Australia, to Europe by plane. They don't actually plan on doing it by boat. So they factor that in and still make money. And
yeah, that's wild, isn't it? Yeah, like probably just a little bit off topic, just for that. But look, I bought an iPad today, and it was only a little iPad 2. I didn't want to go all out, you know, because only for me young daughter. But I've got more to come about I've got a question about the iPad 2 that's coming up towards the end of the show. But I just wanted to just let you know, like, if you went into the Apple store and said, "Oh yeah, there's the iPad 2. How much are they?" And I think they were $449, something like that. Now, if you went in and asked the blue shirter, he said, "Can I have a discount?" What do you reckon they'd give you any discount? Or there's no discounts given at Apple? I don't think there is.
No,
I don't think there is.
Michael, they price match. So if you can find one on special somewhere else, they'll price match it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you, I went to because I knew of this. I didn't know about the price match, but I didn't think they'd reduce it. So I went to somewhere else. Like I went to Domain, which is like a Harvey Norman place. It helped that I had a $50 gift voucher. So anyway, that's why I went there. But yeah, so I went there and I said to the guy, I said, "Oh, any movement on that price there?" And he goes, "Yeah, we'll give you $24 off it." I went, "Oh, that's good, because I wasn't expecting anything." So I suppose if you're looking for an Apple thing, and maybe if you can go to somewhere else, you might get a little bit cheaper. But like $24, that's half a case of beer.
Pays to ask.
It does.
Pays to ask.
It does. So I was happy with that. Yeah, very happy.
See, I think they're on about
dozen games.
8. Yeah, dozen games. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I think they're on about 8% margin, just roughly.
Oh, geez.
So the 24 was, what's that? 5% of that.
Yeah, geez. Oh, that's slim pickings, isn't it? Oh.
So you got to sell a lot to make any money, don't you?
Oh, you'd have to. But most of these big companies like Domain and Harvey Norman, they're all about the turnover as well, aren't they? Like, I'm not sure why they're so, like, they seem to be obsessed, not obviously obsessed with the profit, but seems to be just as obsessed with the turnover. So maybe they get products cheaper the more they sell. I don't know, but I don't think that applies to Apple. But I can't.
That does surprise me, Glenn. Often you'll see in that sort of store like that. Yeah, they'll cut their margins right to the bone just to get another unit through the door.
Yes.
Where they're making $2 on it instead of $15 on it. Like 7 times more or whatever they could make on that same sale by not taking off $10, $12.
But are they going to make the sale?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky game, and Apple is sitting back there. They don't care who sells it. They've made it for about a third to half the price that it's being sold for.
I can't get over that they fly this stuff out. Well, I guess they do. I've never really thought of it, but you think, when you buy something, you send it through wherever, like on mass, it'd come in a container. But yeah, you're right. Like this stuff obviously does get flown over because it gets over here pretty quick, doesn't it? From wherever it comes from.
Well, if you're making 55 million iPhones, what did that work out at? Well, the production line's doing a couple a minute.
Yeah, right. So is the production line fully automated or majority? No, there's a lot of hands in there.
I still think there's a fair few hands in there, yeah.
Yeah, because the iPhones and the iPads, they're pretty intricate little devices, so that I can't see how a computer could do that. But a robot or a machine. But that's a lot of iPhones.
The actual robot would do the finer work. It's the gluing together and connecting the cables and things that the robot can't do.
Yeah, right.
Putting the little components in exactly the right spot. That's done by the robot.
Now, in purchasing my Apple II, my iPad 2 today, Michael, do you think that was a wise purchase? And where I'm going with the direction I want to go with is, do you think that this iPad 2 is going to be obsolete or sluggish within the short term as things progress further? I didn't want to spend any more, so that will do. So mine, it seems okay.
The important thing is, because you bought it for your daughter, I think you said.
Yes.
I reckon you're going to get at least 12 months without any hassles whatsoever, and then don't let us see your new one and don't let us see your friend's new ones. That's basically it.
Yeah.
So,
how long?
You can't compare.
Well, the iPad 2, that's been out for a little while now, hasn't it? Well, a good couple of years. 2010, would it be? Yeah. So
I think you're really close to that point now where is it worth spending that extra 100? And I think in this situation, maybe not, but for a lot of people, it's definitely worth spending that extra 100 to go up to the recent device. We're talking 3 generations of processor difference between, the second gen and the current. And for most people, I think it's worth spending that extra money. And the figures are showing that iPad 2 sales have dropped off dramatically as well in the last little while since the iPad Air, because consumers are saying, yep, my car can get the absolute current one or one from 3 or 4 years ago, and the price difference there is really only that $100.
Yeah.
Still a fantastic buy though. I'd still spend $400 and some change on that than $400 on any Android tablet.
Oh,
$200 on an Android tablet.
Yeah, and look, that was a consideration because the young fella's got an Android tablet, and Izzy's been using my old Android phone and also a little 7-inch Android tablet. But every time I pick these things up, they just got ads and rubbish everywhere, and they're always saying, "Can you show me how to stop it doing this, or how to stop it showing this, or why is this so slow?" And it was just like every month I'd say, "Oh, look, just let me reset it to factory." It was just getting too hard. And I think, and that's what I just thought, I've had the iPad, I've had the iPhone, I've had none of that rubbish, no problems like that at all. And that was pretty much the deciding factor in spending the extra money to get an iPad 2. So I'm very happy. So I've got a question coming up later about some workings of a couple of things with that. But, but for now, we're going to have a break. All right, Garth, have you got anything else, any other news that you want to bring up?
The only one little story I wanted to mention is that the new store in Brisbane finally opened after a number of years. So there's a couple of stores up there in the suburbs already, but at the McCarthy Centre, historical building from the 30s in Brisbane, Apple announced, I think, back in 2011 that they were going to be opening a store there, and it's only finally now happened. They ran into quite a few difficulties with sort of restoration of the historic site and a contractor going out of business. But the crazy thing for me on this, we had people lining up outside the store to get in for up to 15 hours before opening, 10 a.m. So from the night before, and presumably to grab themselves a T-shirt.
Can you not buy these shirts anywhere?
No.
Right.
No, you cannot. The only place you can buy an Apple shirt, official Apple shirt, is from the home store in the US. So there's one particular store in the US where you can buy Apple branded clothing, but the only other place you can get it is at a store opening.
Wouldn't it be hard just to make up your own little screen of
Not at all. I'm sure if you went on eBay right now, Glenn, you'd find a number of people who would sell you one of those under the table.
Do you reckon that'd be trademarked? For shirts?
I don't see that there's much chance of that. I'm sure you wouldn't get into any hot water if you wanted to set up a side business of that, Glenn, I'm sure.
Oh, ching ching. So 15 hours, Garth. That's
15 hours.
That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. Would you do that?
I know. No, we're not even talking a new device there. There's no new iPad being sold or anything else. The city has 2 other stores already. This is just, the only thing I can think is, hey, it's the only time you can get one of these T-shirts, and it was a special, Brisbane store T-shirt.
The only time I'd be lining up at a store, and I would become part of it, would be for the hype, to experience a bit of hype, Yep. And then because I was there for the hype, there's probably other people there for the hype. Then no one's there for the product or anything. We're just all there for the hype. So we're just hyping around.
I'll out myself and say that I did line up for the first iPad.
Oh,
so when that was released here in Australia, I wasn't overnight or anything like that, but I got there, 3 or 4 hours early and got in the line, and it was a lot of fun.
Did you get a shirt?
Because no shirt, no, just an iPad.
Right. Yeah, and because only the first 100 get a shirt or something. That's not everyone, is it?
First 500, I think, or first few hundred get a shirt at the opening of any store.
Any store, yeah.
Yeah, jeez. But 15 hours. Michael, have you ever lined up?
No, mate. I don't have 15 hours. I wish I had 15 hours. Like, I can't wait till I can afford the 15 hours. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, well, this is true. Yeah, but some people, it was one just opened in Japan not long ago, and it was just twisted around the block. It was more like days. Yeah. I think the Sydney one had a couple of people camped out, wasn't there, for a couple of days?
Camped out for days. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. All right. Well, let's get off the wild stuff.
I was at my Penrith Apple store this week, and they had were training some school kids. They have like holiday type classes there that you book in, and you might learn photography or aperture or something like that. And it was very insistent that they understand that they're only getting one T-shirt, so they had to bring the same T-shirt in the next day.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. All right. So now you go to the Apple Store quite a bit because you were there this week,
Yeah.
weren't you?
Yeah, I had this was a different Apple store. It was one of my other local stores, and I thought they did pretty good. So I had to help a customer get an out of warranty iMac fix. So Friday I went online and made an appointment. And I thought finding that page to actually make the appointment was harder than it used to be.
Yeah, right. You didn't do it through the
The
app?
earliest appointment, just doing it through the app or just going to Apple's website.
Oh, yeah.
Go to support, apple.com, click support,
Yep.
choose a store, and then go from there. So the earliest appointment I had for this particular store was 3 hours from when I was sitting down making the booking. Other stores, it was several days. So
Jeez.
like Bondi and the city both were a couple of days before I had an appointment.
Yeah,
So
wow.
Just on other side note to this story, I just wanted to mention too. This the new store in Brisbane takes Australia, I think, above the US in Apple stores per capita.
Per capita, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's 21st store, yeah.
21st store. So we officially now have more stores per capita than even the US does.
That's
pretty good.
Yeah, there was another interesting stat I remember that we mentioned on the Aussie Tech Edge show last week. It was something like, I know it was at the MacArthur Centre is the third street-facing Apple store in Australia. Only the third out of 21 stores, I think, from memory. And there's I think it's even only a handful of street-facing stores around the world. There was some other interesting stat, but anyway, Michael, you had you had a good Genius experience at the end.
Yeah, it was they ran me up. They finished it earlier than they thought they were going to finish it. It had a display replaced, unfortunately, but
did you say this was a in or out of warranty?
Out of warranty.
Right. So why didn't you have a poke at it?
Getting the components.
Right.
Apple don't let you get the components unless you're
real good.
One of their stores.
Okay. Unless you're a little pet.
Yeah, unless you're a store.
Yeah, right.
That's the biggest challenge that I have currently.
Yeah. So when you ask them, do Nextbyte and all this, do they have the same issues, or are there different contracts for different repairers?
Well, Nextbyte's a store, so they have a service area in their store.
Oh, okay, right. So they're allowed to get parts.
Yeah, you got to have a shop front.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
There's a couple of other third-party repair centers, not only just selling computers, but they've actually got shop fronts. Yeah.
Now, is this to stop, say, just backyard boys advertising to fix the Apple stuff?
Well, they still advertise that they can fix Macs and stuff, whereas, like to be a certified Apple tech, it used to be 2 exams a year we'd have to do, one on hardware and one on software.
Yeah, right.
It's now sort of one on software and one on each piece of new hardware that comes out. A lot of it's safety, because, like, for example, the batteries are glued into the computers now, so you can't just start scraping them out with screwdrivers and things because they tend to catch fire if you do that.
Right.
So just you can't heat them up to loosen the glue like you do with iPads and things. People heat them up to soften the glue to get them apart easier.
Yeah.
You can't heat a battery up, for example, because that's bad.
Yeah, true. True.
So getting all that sort of stuff, and if you make it hard for people to get the parts, but you can still buy them from the States if you want to. There's people, pull machines apart in the States and
but these are
sell the parts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they're buying what, new machines, you mean?
No, they're
just second hand.
Just older machines, second-hand machines, and
okay, yeah, right. So I suppose buying it that way, the parts would be pretty exy.
Well, they're still pretty expensive, yeah.
Yeah, right. Wow. Yeah, right. There's a lot more to it, isn't it? They've got everything sewn up pretty tight. So
very tight, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're not letting go of that $110 billion in cash. So
no,
they're sitting on that for a rainy day.
Yeah, I didn't see any of it, to be honest. So
I'm not seeing any of it. I didn't get my iPad for free today, so yeah, I'm not saying nothing of that. But but yeah. But what was your last purchase, Garth? Just before we wrap this story up, what was your last iPad or Apple
my
purchase?
last purchase is probably my time machine.
Yeah, right. And
So that's the time machine base station. So it's basically the Airport Extreme router with a 2 terabyte hard drive in it.
Yep.
For some obscene price. But it works beautifully.
Yeah, so you're happy with that? The time machine.
Yeah.
Nice. I was looking at all the little devices they had there at the domain store today, the Apple TVs and the Airport Expresses and all that sort of. I was nearly going to get another Apple TV, you know. I was nearly going to do it. But I didn't. At the end of the day, I didn't. I haven't got me extended Wi-Fi network sorted out yet, so I thought I'll wait till I do that. Okay. All right, we come back and we will tell you how you can win a $20 iTunes voucher. That'd be sweet, wouldn't it? And also a couple more stories and wrapping it up. Cool. All right, $20 iTunes voucher. If you want to grab one of those for yourself, all you have to do is just leave a review on the Aussie Mac Zone iTunes site or whatever you call it. So, you go into the store, a review in the iTunes store. That's right, on the Aussie Mac Zone, video or audio version of the show. Now, if you do that, thanks to Michael and IT Help 2U, IT Help number 2, letter u.com.au, and you can, if you're the best one for the week, you can win an iTunes gift card. And look, I've got them right over here somewhere, right on top, ready to go. There they go. Well, there's some old cards, but anyway, there they go, ready to go out. Now, go and do that. I said I'll try and remind you on Facebook this week. I said I'd do that last week, didn't I? But I forgot. Things happen, So go and do that. Now, also what I've got to mention is the Aussie Tech Radio, aussietechradio.com.au. That's AUSSIE, Aussie Tech Radio. Well, it's Australia Day, so we got to get behind all this sort of stuff. aussietechradio.com, and go there if you want to listen to some more tech shows. Aussie Tech Heads, Aussie Mac Zone. There's heaps of others, tech webcasts, heaps of others there. So go to that website and it'll tell you how to get it. That's a Shoutcast service. So just download your Shoutcast app or just tune in through the web, and you'll be good. Now, look, I've got one more story before we leave you this week. I've got a story and a question. Now, the story is Apple is going to refund $32.5 million for kids that have accidentally purchased in-app purchases. So that's when you get your dad to put his password in so you can get some games, and then he gives you back the iPad or the iPhone or whatever, and you go, oh, in-app purchase, yeah, and you can keep buying stuff for up to about 15 minutes. So that's what everyone's crying about. So 32.5 million is going back to the consumer for kids' games that have had in-app purchases. And so there was a term in this story I didn't know what it was. Maybe it's because I'm just too old. If I can find it. I was finding an image of the settlement due kids bought things. Here we go. The agency has said that settlement only involves children's mobile apps and charges racked up when kids bought things such as virtual currency or dragon food. Is dragon food just dragon food, or is dragon food something else? What is that?
It's dragon food for the dragon in the game.
Oh, is that just what it means? It just means dragon food.
Yeah. Like if you've got a game and you've got to keep the dragon alive to get more points, right. You got to feed it.
You haven't solved the puzzle or whatever, and the dragon's getting hungry.
Well, right.
You don't want him to die.
Well, no.
Come on, Dad.
But why would you use that terminology? Why would you pick that? It just
I
sounded.
don't know. That was kind of odd, wasn't it?
I mean, what the hell is a dragon food? I thought it must have been something, something funky or something like that. But all right.
Well, it could well be
just
funky.
dragon food.
All right. Look, we'll do two more things because we're getting towards the end of the show. So, Michael has got, before my question, an app of the week.
I like Apple's Reminder app. I spend a lot of time driving around, going from job to job, and I love being able to just hold down the home button and say, Reminder, replace tail light, because I've got a tail light out on my car, or Reminder,
feed dragon.
My customer's name. Yeah. Feed dragon, yes. Or, add to shopping list carrots because I feel like eating some carrots and I just don't want to forget them when I'm doing the shopping. So,
Yeah, right.
And then I'm either at the phone when I'm at the next customer's place with a few minutes to spare, or if I'm at home in the office because the iCloud's sick, and I can just look up and go, oh yeah, I've got to do that. As in, I just wrote down this time. Remind Glenn to review about the review on Facebook.
Right. Okay. Well, that's probably not a bad thing. So all you have to do, so the Apple Reminder app, that's not installed by default. You've got to download it.
No, it's on your phone and on your computer default. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
because
the one.
Series integrated. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know the one you mean. So that doesn't give you a reminder of come back in 3 days. It just sits on top, like it's just as a list.
It's a list, or you can give it a time. You can specify a time you want to be reminded. You can specify I want to be reminded when I'm leaving the office or leaving the location or leaving home or when I arrive home.
Yeah, okay.
Don't be in a bad mood when I get home. And when you get into that circle in the geolocation,
yes,
it'll just come up on the screen. Don't be in a bad mood.
All right. Nice. Well, yeah, I might have to try using that. I've just got Siri talking the way or doing stuff the way I want to as far as setting calendar appointments, like change title, amend title, or change time and all this sort of stuff. I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
Now, look, my question for the week is, now, because I bought this iPad 2 today, my question is, now, I want to get her to have access to my Apple ID because, like, I download just chunks of apps all the time. They're all freebies, and well, maybe not all freebies, but I just got all these apps, and so I wanted to give her to be able to download those and all other content as well, some TV shows and some little movies and all this sort of stuff. Now, I know I can just punch in my Apple ID into her iPad, but is there any way that she is able to purchase from not purchase, but download free content from the App Store without me putting in the password all the time?
Yes.
Oh, there is? Ooh, I thought the answer was going to be no.
Well, sorry, no. Free content?
Well,
not if it hasn't been purchased before with that
okay.
Apple ID.
Right.
So if you have purchased it, she'll be able to download it whenever she likes.
Yes.
So anything you've purchased, she can download. But no, not free stuff. You'd have to buy it either on your device or put your password on your device, or or allow her to put the password in for her on her device. So, and hey, Glenn, just on that, another thing I'd recommend you do is set up an iCloud account for her as well.
Oh yes.
And put that into your iCloud. So keep in the App Store and App and iTunes stores, you put in your main Apple ID. Yes. And in iCloud, you put in her Apple ID. That way she has her own email, her own 5 gig of storage for backup and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, right.
She doesn't get your iMessages because all the iMessages are tied to iCloud.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, good.
So she can send and receive her own iMessages, her own 5 gig of storage, her own email, her own backup. Yet in the Apple Store and iTunes Store, you can use the main Glenn account.
Yes.
And get the free apps and so forth, free iTunes and And
then she okay, right. So can okay, cool.
There's another choice too, is you can log on to iTunes with your account, download the apps you want to download for her, then set her up with her own account so that anything she downloads from now on is in her name. And the only time that's a hassle is when there's an update to an account for your games, the ones you in your an app. The accounts the apps that you've got on your account. When there's an update, you've got to enter your username and password for the updates.
For those updates for those games, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay.
But going forward, that problem will get diminished as it goes forward. Yeah. Because she won't want those earlier games anyway.
Yeah, okay. All right. And also with the, Find My Friends and all this sort of stuff, I thought, I'll set that up, I want to know where she is. Well, she's only 7, but, I just wanted to set it up. So, but
it's the other way around. She wants to know where you are.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's right.
For me to take her somewhere. So I tried to set that up, but it looked like I was looking for
It'll only do it from one device at a time.
Yeah, is that an iCloud thing? Like, would that be fixed with what Garth was talking about? Yeah, because you do sign in with the. Yeah, okay.
Just sign in with another name. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The only way you can locate her at the moment would be find my phone.
Right.
Because that'll list all your devices. Shows you where all your devices are.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Okay. Cool. Now, Find My Friends. Does that work? So when a person turns the machine off and they turn it back on, that just loads up automatically, does it? It seems to, because I follow other people. They always seem to be on there.
Well, you can leave it on, or you can have a temp event. So you might say, all right, well, there's a party at Glenn's place, and you can see where people are coming to your party. But then from then on, they won't follow you, and you won't be following them. It's just so you know where they are for that party.
Yeah, nice.
Or if they're down the beach, you're meeting down the beach or something. You don't know what part of the beach you're on, because Surfers has got such beautiful beaches and so long.
And there's so many distractions.
I was down there this morning. I went down at 7 o'clock. And I'll tell you, it's great down there. It is absolutely great. So, a lot of fit people out, I'll tell you.
And you're obviously down there to get fit. That's what I'm proud of you.
That's right. I'll tell you,
that's what I'm hearing.
My eyes are the fittest they've been for ages. All right. One last question. Look, Garth, we'll do an app from you next time, I think.
Yeah, righto.
Yeah, so one last question actually comes from the lounge. And for those of you who don't know what the lounge is the Aussie Tech Heads lounge. The lounge that watch us record the show live. If you want to know what times that is all on and so forth, go to the AussieTechHeads.com.au or the AussieMaxZone.com.au webpage, and you will find the times that we do all this sort of stuff. Now, Milo from the lounge, anyone recommend a good Bluetooth unit for the iPhone 5 for phone calls in the car? Now, I would just recommend get a Bluetooth compatible stereo system in the car. That works good for me. Hopefully it might work good for you. But other than that, Michael, do you use Bluetooth headwear?
No, I don't anymore. I actually just use the cable headphones now, so I can keep the Siri quality up more than anything else. But there are a few. They're about $40 or $50 each for good ones. The cheaper ones I know have hassles trying to sync up all the time.
Yeah,
you have to like resync them and resync them and resync them for some reason.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. And they just clip on your sun visor. So.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, cool. So what about that? There's other ones that slip inside your ear as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, just slip in there, and you walk around with a little thing in your ear, going. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, like they say, men love Bluetooth. That was on the
something.
One of the shows
on TV,
about,
as seen on TV.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't watch TV very often, but it was on there.
All right. If you want to get a hold of us, you can email us at Garth, Michael, or Glenn. That's me at AussieMacZone.com.au. You can find us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads. The YouTube channel, if you want to watch the video, it's YouTube.com/Aussie Tech Heads, or of course the webpage, AussieMacZone.com.au. Don't forget, Aussie Tech Heads is also on this week. It's on every week. Both shows are on each week, so don't forget to tune in for that one as well. You can find us on Twitters. We're all on Twitter. You can find all that out many places around the place. So I'll mention those next week if you want to know where we are on Twitter. Just email us if you've got a question. Don't forget the review if you want a $20 gift card, $20 iTunes gift card. All right, so good to see you again, Garth. Thanks for dropping in. Oh, is he dropping
Thank
out?
you, Glenn,
Oh, no,
very
there he is. No, that's all right. Now, we're back to your 2 weeks on, 1 week on, 1 week off. We'll see.
Yeah, back to a regular fortnight. So hopefully the old meningitis will completely be completely gone next time I see you.
Maybe your head will de-swell. So,
Yeah. I hope so.
yes. All right, you'll look after yourself.
You keep the scans to prove you had a brain. So if everyone...
No, they couldn't find anything. That's why they kept me in hospital for a while at one stage there.
It's just a swollen chasm. And Michael, thanks for coming in. And
Thank you.
We'll see you again next week. And as I said,
another great week.
Yeah, as I said, Jace is off this week, but I'm hoping that, well, we're all hoping he'll be back next week. All right, so until then, any questions? Email us. Until then, bye-bye. See you later. Ta-da.